People who pick up hitchhikers, has it ever gone wrong? I've been a truck driver for 8 years, hauling loads across the country. Long hours, empty roads, just me and the radio most nights. Last Tuesday around 10 p.m., I was driving through this nasty storm when I saw 2 people standing next to a busted Honda on the side of Highway 84. Man and woman, both soaked to the bone, waving me down. The guy looked maybe 30, wearing jeans and a flannel. The woman had dark hair, looked younger, maybe mid-20s. When I pulled over, they ran up to my window looking grateful as hell. "Our car died," the guy said, rainwater dripping off his nose. "Any chance you could give us a ride to the next town?" "I'm Mark. This is my wife Jen." She smiled and nodded, but something felt off about how she stood behind him. I figured, what the hell? It's pouring rain and they looked miserable. "Hop in," I said. They climbed into my cab, Mark sitting in the passenger seat, Jen squeezing behind us on the little sleeper bunk. At first everything seemed normal. Mark was chatty, telling me they were driving to see his mom in Phoenix for her birthday. Jen chimed in saying they'd been married 2 years, met at a coffee shop in Denver. They even offered me some trail mix from their backpack. But after about 20 minutes, I started noticing weird things. Every time Jen would speak, Mark would reach back and squeeze her leg really hard, like hard enough that she'd wince and stop talking mid-sentence. Then she'd force this fake smile and go quiet. When she said they met at a Starbucks, Mark corrected her. "No, babe, remember? It was that little place downtown." But his voice had this edge to it. Jen just nodded quickly and said, "Oh yeah, right." I kept driving, but started paying more attention. Mark kept his hand on her knee the whole time, fingers digging in whenever she moved. She sat perfectly still, like she was afraid to breathe wrong. Around midnight, I pulled into a truck stop for gas. "I'll fill up. You guys can stretch your legs or use the bathroom," I said. Mark immediately got out and followed Jen toward the building, staying right behind her. In the men's room, I was washing my hands when someone slipped a folded napkin under my stall door. I picked it up and opened it. Written in shaky handwriting, "Help me, he's not my husband." My blood went cold. I stuffed the note in my pocket and walked back to the truck, trying to keep my face normal. Jen was already sitting in the back, staring out the window. Mark was buying energy drinks, acting like nothing happened. Back on the road, I decided to test them. "So Mark, how'd you propose?" I asked, glancing in my mirror at Jen. She looked terrified. "Beach in California," he said without hesitation. But earlier, Jen had mentioned they'd never been to California together. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I started driving past the small towns instead of stopping, heading toward a way station I knew had state troopers. "Where are we going?" Mark asked, noticing we'd passed the exit to town. "Oh, just a shortcut," I lied. "Gets us there faster." But he was getting suspicious, looking at the GPS on his phone. When we got close to the way station and he saw the flashing lights, Mark's whole attitude changed. "Take the next exit," he demanded. "Now." "Oh, sorry, didn't see it," I said, pulling straight into the station lot. That's when he lost it completely. Mark reached into his jacket and pulled out a knife, pressing it against Jen's side. "Drive away right now or she dies," he hissed. I slammed the emergency brake as hard as I could. The sudden stop threw Mark forward and the knife slipped away from Jen just long enough for the troopers to see what was happening through the windshield. They swarmed the cab, 3 officers with guns drawn. Mark tried to grab Jen again, but they tackled him before he could hurt her. She was crying and shaking as they pulled her to safety. Turns out Jen had been kidnapped from a gas station in Utah 3 weeks earlier. Her family had been searching everywhere. Mark was some creep who'd been stalking her social media, learned her routine, and grabbed her when she was alone. I had to testify in court 6 months later. Mark got 25 years. Jen's parents drove all the way from Utah to thank me in person. Her dad cried and hugged me for like 5 minutes straight.